Hey everyone, it's Veil Chat, back at it with another Awaken Chaos Era video, and in this one I'm going to be going in-depth into Nathalia, because everyone actually got her for free on the global launch, which is amazing. Thank you developers for giving one of the best epics out in the game for everyone for free, which was, again, just amazing. So we're going to be going over her build, her stats, everything, every game mode that you want to use her in, why she's good, what makes her good, all that sort of stuff. And on top of that, sorry for my voice, I just did a 24-hour stream, so it might be a little raspy, but if you are enjoying this content, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and head into her stats. So first off, we have the S rank attack, which is perfect for an attack type unit. She does have the plus 15% base attack because I have Ascension 1 on her. Now, she doesn't have as much attack as some of the other characters out there, but it's a very, very, very good number for an attacker type unit. Then we have the C health, C defense, which is, to be expected on someone who's so heavily focused on attack. It does come to bite her a couple times. She has really, really low HP. I mean, just to see, she has 9.6k for me. And she definitely gets one shot oftentimes. So just keep that in mind. And then we have the B speed, which is actually 85. I have plus 15 speed from the triple ascension. So 85 speed is kind of sad because oftentimes you want to reach that number of 141 to go first in the Ash dungeon, which is quite important for often a lot of the comps out there. So that is kind of sad to see. And just keep that in mind. It's quite hard to get to that speed number with also the damage to kill the imps. And then we have 8% crit rate, which is, pretty good for an attack type unit that you want to build crit rate on. Would have liked to see 10%, but 8% is solid nonetheless. And then you have the trait here, and this is what makes Nathalia Nathalia. So for every positive effect she has, her abilities affect one extra enemy. Now her basic and her ultimate are single target abilities, so this is super, super important. On top of that, if you have buffs, each buff gives her 10% increased damage overall, which is really, really amazing. So just keep that in mind. This is what makes Nathalia Nathalia. And then we have her passive, which I will go over first because it's really important to understand the passive before you go into the abilities. And she applies attack up and immune if she has any buff at the start of her turn. So let's say you're using her with Connor, which you definitely want to pair her with someone like Connor, someone like Bran. People are giving buffs regularly. So if you use her with Connor, his shield does not actually count as a positive effect, so just keep that one in mind. But he's going to be applying attack up to her, which is also going to proc her passive and give herself attack up and immune. Now, if you're using her with attack up, she's going to replace that attack up, not an additional attack up. So just keep that in mind. So you really want 3 buffs in total after the passive procs in order to get AoEs on each skill. So just keep that in mind when you're using her. And so then her basic ability here deals 80% damage, and she recently got nerfed, and this was 100% damage, but now it's 80%. She also got a buff to her ultimate, which we'll go on later, and she grants herself random stats up, which could be attack up, defense up, speed up, crit rate up, or crit damage up. And again, those will kind of work with her own passive to give herself some more AoE hits as you're going through some stages. And then we have the ultimate, which was buffed from 180% damage to 200% damage. And so overall, Nathalia got a buff for my account because I don't use her with William. And this skill gets reset if you kill an enemy. So oftentimes I'm using her in Endless Trials, I'm using her in Void Tower, I'm using her in Campaign, and I would oftentimes kill a unit and then reset her ultimate and just use it again. So really, I just got 20% damage increase on Nathalia, on her multiplier at least, which was absolutely insane. And again, this will AoE everyone if you have 3 buffs on her, which is really, really crazy, which is why she's such a good character. So let's go ahead and head into the build here. And the build is pretty basic. This is campaign gear, or quest gear rather, if you complete 3-8 and then do the 50 legendary glyphs. These are campaign pieces. And then I have a couple other better pieces so that I can run crit damage ring on her, which you'll probably not be able to run until you're much later on in the game. And really what you just want is 100% crit rate, as much crit damage as you possibly can get, and as much attack as you possibly can get. And of course, if you can reach that 141 speed threshold, that's really, really nice for Ashe specifically. Other than that, you don't really need too much speed on her. And some stats that I would highly, highly recommend looking out for is 1, the Cursed set. The Cursed set will give you an extra chance to proc an extra basic attack. And again, her basic is giving herself buffs and giving herself an AoE attack. It's not just one hit, it's an AoE. So the Cursed set is really, really solid on her. Another set is the Guard set, which will give herself a shield at the start of every round. Or sorry, not every round, every stage. So if you go first stage on Ashe, into this next stage, it will refresh that shield for 3 turns, which is that buff that you need for Nathalia. Excellent, excellent set. And then the third set that I would recommend looking out for is the Assassin set, which just has a chance of doing extra damage. So those 3 sets are in particular. And then, of course, any crit rate attack sets, those are obviously really, really good for her. So let's go ahead and test her out in the first game mode, which is campaign. So here we are in the campaign, and I suggest everyone run this team with Nathalia and then Zalix in the fourth slot here. The whole team's free except for Tia. I would replace Tia with a rookie summon, whatever you got. And I have Nathalia rated as an absolute 10 for campaign. And it turns out from a previous patch, they patched Connor's shield to actually count as a buff, which means that Nathalia with Connor will be clearing out the entire wave, which you'll see here, and then reset her ultimate, as we mentioned with the skills, and just clears through the whole campaign stage over and over and over again, which is absolutely amazing and really, really solid. Again, I highly, highly recommend those of you who are starting out the game, run Nathalia, run Connor. I understand if most of you are running Nathalia, but it'll be really nice to have Connor in there for those buffs. And again, as you see from our skills, we only hit 3 people there because we didn't have those 3 buffs. So make sure you're getting those 3 buffs. And if you do happen to have the Ascension, those buffs are going to be doing a ton more damage for Nathalia. And we're just going to go and finish this campaign battle. And then I'm going to go ahead and head over to Arena and how she performs there. So here we are in Arena. I just want to quickly mention, if you want to see your champion featured in a future guide, let me know in the comments down below. Now, I have her rated as a 6 for Arena defense and an 8 for Arena offense. Now, if you're much lower in the tiers, she does jump up quite a bit. But oftentimes when you're in these higher rating, you really need a high single target damage dealer, that being Intinua, Vance, Borden, something like that, so you can get through these teams. But again, this is something that you might see beginning out, just a Winstrex comp, and this is why I have it rated as an 8 for Arena offense, is because you're just going to go in and set your comp up with whatever you're using and just have her clear out the whole wave, whether Zatlex goes first or she goes last. Doesn't really matter too much, but I do recommend you put Zatlex after Nathalia, because Zatlex will be able to clear off everyone after Zatlex goes, or Nathalia will be able to clear, and then Zatlex goes and finishes off everyone with his ultimate. And of course, you see Nathalia last here, but she would just clear out the wave with Winstrex's buffs. So just keep that in mind. Very, very good for Arena offense, but Arena defense is, a little awkward because she's so slow that you don't really get her to go if the enemy's, making sure to manage your Nathalia. So let's go ahead and check her out in Void Tower. So here we are on hard floor 76. Now, I do want to mention that I think Nathalia is a 9 for Void Tower. I think she's excellent for Void Tower. One of the best ways to get through hard is a Winstrex burst comp, meaning running Winstrex and then triple damage dealers, one of them being Nathalia and one of them being Zatlux, because Nathalia will just wipe through waves, and she's excellent at doing that. So she's an amazing Void Tower character. I cannot burst through this wave, so I can't really show you the potential of Nathalia. And because she resets her ultimate ability, she's really good at clearing the waves beforehand. So she's an amazing character for Void Tower. Let's go ahead and check her out in Guild Boss. So here we are on the Guild Boss, and I have her rated as an 8 for the fire, a 7 for the water, and a 3 for the wood. If you're running her on water, you're not going to get that 50% damage increase. And also, she kind of, gets outshined by a lot of damage dealers out there because you're not going to be able to reset that ultimate because it's Guild Boss. She is pretty solid if you run her with William, and a lot of people do run William in Guild Boss. So I put her as an 8 because I think she's a solid choice, but definitely not one of the best out there. And don't use her for wood. You're going to die way too quickly. So let's go ahead and head over to Endless Trials. So here we are in Endless Trials, level 70, and I think she's an absolute 10 for Endless Trials. I personally think she's the absolute best character in Endless Trials, and the reason for this is there's a lot of artifacts in the game that, maybe we could find one when we enter here. There's a lot of artifacts that amplify single target damage dealing skills, and the way Nathalia's abilities are coded is they are single target skills but turn into AoEs, and so she can abuse a lot of the artifacts that are for single target. Let's see if we can find one here. No, but we have another one that's really good for Nathalia, and that's Boots of White, which gives her extra status effects. Maybe we can check here. No, not quite, but anyways, with Endless Trials, you're going to get a ton of single target damage dealing artifacts, and she's an amazing character that can abuse those artifacts. Amazing character. Let's go ahead and check her out in dungeons. So here we are in the dungeons, and again, I'm not rating Witch and Gemini because I've not done too many runs of them, but for Tulpa, I have her rated as a 3, for Ashe, I have her rated as a 10, and for Queen, I have her rated as a 6. So do not use her for Tulpa. She will die. She's not the right affinity, and she doesn't really offer too much to Tulpa. Queen, you can use her in the lower levels, but you definitely do not want to use her for later stage comps. She's too hard to keep alive, and she just doesn't do enough damage, seeing as she's off affinity. Definitely use someone like Evra or Zatlux, who's free or rookie summons. Ashe, she is the key character for almost every single comp out there. Now, I think my speed tune got a little messed up, but I just want to go ahead and show you this team right here. This is my Ashe 12 team. It's not 100% at the moment. It's about 80%, I believe. But Nathalia is a key component. She's an amazing character for this dungeon. And the main reason for that is if you could stack up 1 to 2 buffs, maybe 3 buffs on her, and get those 3 to 4 hits out, she's going to be able to clear those imps, reset her ultimate on those imp kills, and then do it again and again. And she's an absolute carry for this dungeon in particular. I have not really seen any comp, Ashe 12 comp, that works without her. Now, that could be, obviously not the case, but any comp that I've seen has had Nathalia in there and absolutely carrying them through Ashe. And she makes this really free-to-play comp work, because now that they've given Nathalia out for free, this is a 100% free-to-play team with Santis, with Mary, with Ice Wolf. It's not my team that I've created, but it's definitely an amazing team, and suggested that you build this, especially since now everyone's getting a free Nathalia. But you can just see the power of her here. She cleared through both of those waves, and she's now going to go ahead and clear out these imps right here. Boom, the imps are dead, and we are just crushing through this. Again, I don't think this is a 100% team, but we will see here if we are able to complete it. This is an amazing squad. Definitely recommend that you guys check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the end of this and see if we actually end up winning, because if you want to see this, I'll be having a guide, and you can check out one of my other videos later on. So we ended up losing, and I forgot that because I got the triple ascension on Nathalia, it messed up my speed tune a little bit, which is fine. But you could kind of see the purpose of Nathalia in that dungeon. It's really to clear out the waves, clear out the imps, and just do a ton of damage. Really solid character in Ashe. So here we are at the ability crystal dungeons, and I think most of these are pretty easy, but there's some specific things that you want in certain dungeons. So I have her rated as a 3 for the Bane Wraith, a 10 for the Lizard, and 8 for the rest across the board. She helps you clear out those waves, but she's the wrong affinity for Bane Wraith, and she's the right affinity for Lizard. Pretty simple, self-explanatory for those ones. Let's go ahead and check out the last thing, and that is the potion value for Nathalia. And this one is pretty simple. I have her rated as an absolute 10 for the potion value. Why is that the case? Well, her trait is one of the best in the entire game. What do you get from the Ascension? You get the extra 10% damage on her abilities. She's oftentimes running with 3 or more buffs, which means you're just getting a 30% damage increase from this trait. If you're running your Endless Trials, you could have 8 or 9 buffs, which is an 80-90% damage increase. And if you're using her in Void Tower, you can definitely kind of manipulate the buffs and have her 4 or 5 buffs. So this trait is absolutely amazing. Not only that, base attack as well, if you get that second Ascension. Really amazing. Definitely worth investing your purple potions. Any free-to-play player or any player out there, because you got her for free, invest your purple potions into her, at least to 2. You're never going to regret that. Unless you're a super whale and you summon 20 copies of her, but definitely worth the purple potions. So what are my overall thoughts on Nathalia? So overall, I have her in as a 7.46 with the potion value included, or a 7.31 without the potion value included. Now, I think she's an amazing character. I think she's one of the best epics in the game. One of my favorite epics. I use her all the time, and she's just a mainstay damage dealer in every single game mode that you can actually use her in. The one thing that really, kind of prevents her from being, maybe an 8 or a 9 or a 10, and that is the fact that she has bad affinity matchups. If in this game, damage dealers really want positive affinity, because you're going to get that 50% extra damage. So she takes a hit there. But overall, if you can use her in those right affinity matchups, she will be the outperformer of any other damage dealer out there, and highly suggest that every single new player, because you're getting her for free, absolutely build her. You can 6-star her as your first damage dealer, and you will not regret it. You'll definitely be using her all the way throughout the game. So that pretty much wraps up Nathalia. And if you are enjoying these videos, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know who you want to see next, and I will see you for the next video.